Hi friend, Kat Clausen here. Time to continue on with the top hat project. So far I have painted Lincoln's eye on the top. I'm going to be painting a portrait of Lincoln. You'll see that later, so stick with me. I've painted quite a few coats of gesso on this hat, and now it's got a nice hard surface. So top hats got their beginnings in the 1700s. They were called sugarloaf or steeple hats back then. Now those hats originated from soldiers' uniform hats. So we had the soldiers' hats, the steeple hat, the sugarloaf, and then the top hat. The top hat showed up about 1800, and by far it was the one that really stuck. Lincoln started wearing his top hat in the 1830s in New Salem, kind of as a gimmick. He was postmaster, and when he had hand-deliver mail, he would put the mail inside the hat, put the hat on, and if it was raining, he could keep his customers' mail dry. Now in 1860, Lincoln gave his famous Cooper Institute address, and somebody said that his hat looked bashed in, but that is probably not true because that day he had visited Knox Hat and Cap Shop and bought a brand new top hat. Truly, his coat was shabby, his boots were tight, but he was the tallest man in the crowd, and that counts when you're running for president. Now in 1864 at the Battle of Fort Stevens, Lincoln stood up to observe the battlefield, and right then a bullet went just right past his ear. And what saved his life is a Union officer said, "Get down!" Now, the top hat was terrific. It gave him prestige, looked important, but it also made him a target for assassination. So twice he was nearly assassinated before that fateful night, April 14th, 1865. He goes to Ford's Theater. He has picked a black 7 1/4 inch top hat in satin. He enters the box with Mary. He goes to the opening in front, takes the hat off, waves to his constituents, hello. They're all cheering because the war had been won about 1 week earlier at Appomattox. It was just a terrific night. Lincoln actually didn't want to go to the play. He wanted to rest, but he didn't want to disappoint his people, so he showed up. After saying hello, he sat down, put the hat on the floor, and that's it. And now he belongs to the ages, as they say. So our presidents are known for things, but nobody's known for haberdashery the way Lincoln is. There's FDR, who had the cigarette holder. There's JFK, who had the rocker. Lincoln definitely is all about the hat. It helped him win. It moved from gimmick to iconic clothing element. And my feeling is that a hat, the top hat alone, identifies Lincoln. I have done paintings just with a top hat, and people know it's Lincoln. That definitely is an American icon. Okay, I'm going to get the paints out. Stick with me, and let's start that portrait. All right, I've got the top hat on the easel, which actually works pretty well. I've protected it by having some fabric top and bottom on the braces holding it in place. I've mixed up some blue, phthalo blue, and titanium white. One little trick is I like to keep some paint right here on a palette knife so I can just quickly apply, grab paint here, then apply right here without a big long reach to the palette. Now I took a few minutes and drew Lincoln in pencil on top of the top hat. So now kind of the fun begins, where I get to just go round and about and work on this piece. It's interesting because, you know, I had no idea if this idea would work. I'd never painted on a top hat before. I'd never painted on felt. But I think part of being an artist is to experiment and realize if this doesn't work, that's okay. It was an experiment. I won't do it again. I'll try something else. I'll change at least one variable, you know, and try again. I had a good idea this would work because I painted about 20 electric guitars, and that's a wood surface. My feeling is as long as the surface is nice, smooth, it's good, hard, solid, you know, it really should be able to accept paint. What's a little bit tricky is just for me right now to see what I'm doing, because I want you to be able to see what I'm doing. Normally, I would be right where you are, right in front. That's okay. So when you think about it, there are probably objects in your house that would be really fun to paint on. All you have to do is get the surface smooth. You might need to sand the surface. I have a palm sander that I like to use on surfaces just to prepare. And never be afraid to try anything. The worst thing that can happen is that your painting ends up going in, you know, into the closet, or you give the painting away. Usually whoever gets it, they're just delighted with it. They don't realize that it was a trial and error type piece. Now I put a medium into this paint called Copal. It helps the paint spread out, adhere, stay shiny. And it actually makes the paint last longer because you're adding volume to it, so you don't have to use as much paint. So it's kind of a cost saver somewhat. I chose to do a profile of Lincoln on the top of the hat. I didn't have this figured out right away. I had to sleep on it for quite a while, and so I was happy when it took a long time to prepare the hat, because I could think just in my head what I wanted to do. And I don't know if you can see it in this shot, but I've got an oval of Lincoln over there that is a profile. And I thought that worked just so well. And the more I thought about it, you know, the top of the top hat is an oval, so why not? Now if I make more top hats, you know, I'll probably do different things on each one. I like to use this flat brush. Can you see that? Kind of works like calligraphy. You can draw around the edge and then fill in. One of my favorite things about Lincoln was malice for none, charity for all. He really was a very empathic person. He felt things deeply. I think that makes a good leader, but it's hard on the leader because he had to deal with 600,000 deaths in the Civil War. He had to deal with a lot of death in his family. But with all of that, he remained a person who felt malice for none, charity for all. He certainly could have become bitter, but he didn't. I don't know if that was just his upbringing. He had a terrific mother, Nancy. He had a terrific stepmother. Dad, not so much. But he did learn the art of storytelling from his dad, Tom. And that was really important for him because that helped him get out of his shy self. He was a shy kid. So he picked up a lot, you know, from his folks, even if it wasn't as much from Dad. But empathy, to be able to feel what other people are feeling, I think that's probably something you're born with. I think you can work on that trait, but it probably is something you're born with. Now, what's going to help me here with doing the background first, this blue is going to help me gauge what I need to do with the other colors, the intensity, the rhythm, the balance. I don't always do this background after painting the eye, but a lot of times it is helpful. You'll know that just the more paintings you do, what kind of help you need. All right, so first step is done. Well, second step. We've got the eye done, we've got the background. Now I can move on to some other things, and I'll keep you up on the project. Hope you continue to follow. Take care, everyone. I love you. And remember, it's always love.